Hello everybody, this is Maurice Kamne from the City of David and from mauricelavos.com. Today I would like to discuss a very good subject that is actually related to an issue that many Christians are facing, especially in this new world where we actually see the rise of evil everywhere we go. So the verse I would like to actually lead you into is found into 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 from verse 21 to verse 22. And it's a verse where the Apostle Paul clearly says to them, avoid all kind of evil. Avoid all kind of evil. Why is he telling them to avoid all kind of evil? It's quite a very there's just a very simple explanation for it. The explanation is simply because evil is dangerous. That's a no-brainer. And he's actually very strict on the subject. He's not saying avoid some evil or speak to some evil. He said avoid all kind of evil. Other versions actually read abstain from the appearance of all evil. Now, what does it mean to avoid or to abstain from the appearance of evil? Many people have their own interpretation. However, it is very dangerous to interpret that verse in the way that you feel like. It is not about you just appearing as an evil person. Of course, we shouldn't be appearing as an evil person. What the Apostle Paul is telling us is to avoid the appearance, avoid all kind of evil that can actually appear, not only in our own lives, but also around us at all. And there's a reason why he's telling us this. First of all, the enemy, if he wants to have a hold into your life, a foothold into your life, he will need to appear to you first. This is what he did to Eve. He needed to appear to Eve in the Garden of Eden. He needed to appear to her in order to have a conversation to her. That's the first thing. So the first thing he's going to do is to appear. And then there's another thing that many people do not understand. Sometimes we wonder as to why so many fellow brethren fall into compromise. Why do they compromise their views? Why do they compromise their convictions? Why do they compromise their own lifestyle? One of the main reasons as to why so many people compromise themselves is because they've allowed the appearance, they allowed themselves to be in a place where the evil was appearing. Evil can appear through a TV show, it can appear through a conversation, it can appear in a meeting, it can appear in many places in many ways. And the moment you actually let yourself in a place where evil is appearing, then you are setting yourself up to have a conversation with the evil. Have you ever heard those people, whenever they want to introduce something that is evil, one of the first things they tell you is always, we need to have a conversation about it. We need to have a conversation about it. And regardless of what is the issue or what is the evil, because there are all sorts of evils, like Paul has written, he has clearly written, avoid all kinds of evil. So there are so many kinds of evil that can, we find them in so many fields. And whenever evil people want to introduce something evil, one of the first things they say is, we need to have a conversation about it. So they will first appear to you, and then they will try to have a conversation about it. And many Christians, what they do, after having a conversation, if they get convinced, they start defending the same evil, and they say things like, wow, that is cute. Wow, that is cute. I think we should change our views regarding this issue. The reason why they actually got themselves compromised is because they did not follow what the Apostle Paul has written, which is avoid all kind of evil. Okay? Now, we shouldn't be growing too arrogant about ourselves, especially if many of us, I speak especially to those Christians who have not experienced the full blow or the full strength of evil in their lives. And as a result of that, they have grown arrogant, thinking that they can actually go around and expose themselves to all sorts of evil. They now assume that they can just watch any TV show. They can now have any conversation on any issue. They can now stand in front of anybody who represents evil and nothing's going to happen. You have to be very, very careful not to grow arrogant. Because when the evil wants to appear, he will also come prepared with the arguments, the right arguments that is needed to actually convince you to follow him. When the evil appeared to Eve in the Garden of Eden, he was well prepared with his argument. He was prepared. He was fully prepared, and he knew what to say at the right time. When the enemy appeared to Jesus, notice that he also had certain arguments that were quite pertinent to convince Jesus to fall into temptation. And this is why the Apostle Paul is also telling you clearly, avoid all kinds of evil, because you don't actually know how prepared they are to convince you to follow them. That is very important. And also, you should also remember one thing. There are all kinds of evil. Not all evil are the same. Simply because you are able to resist a certain type of evil, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be easier for you when you actually meet with another kind. There are different kinds of evil. All the evil forces are not the same. Remember that. It's a foolish way of thinking if we actually admit, or if we just say that all the evils are the same. That is not true. That is not true. I like the way Paul actually writes it. He says, avoid all kinds. There are different levels. And one thing that you should also remember, the appearance of evil is also a door that the enemy want to use to actually possess people. I'll give you an example. There are certain people who have been demon-possessed simply by watching certain TV shows. Certain people have been demon-possessed simply by looking or listening and giving like a proper ear to evil talks and evil demonic prayers, you know. And what you should also remember is that when it comes to demon possession, when the devil wants to possess someone, the human does not get to have a say on the type of demon that will come into his life. Okay, for example, simply because someone is busy watching porn, it does not necessarily mean that he's going to get a demon of sexual perversion. Not necessarily. A demon of poverty can come into his life. A demon that will ravage his life financially can come in. So whenever we actually expose ourselves to the presence or to the appearance of the devil, if there is a possession, if there will be a possession, we do not necessarily get to have a say on what type of demon will come in. So that's why we have to be very, very careful. And I repeat again what Paul said. He wrote, avoid all kinds of evil, period. Now, here's a little cherry on top of my teaching. In the book of Psalm, chapter 1, verse 1, it is written that blessed is the one who does not stand on the way of the sinners and the mockers. And one thing that many people actually forget is that by constantly being in the appearance, in the places where evil appears, by constantly going in places where evil appear, you are now robbing yourself from blessings. You know, we can actually pray for you, we can pray for many people, we can pray for people who are looking for blessings. But as long as they do not participate also in their own process, those prayers are going to be null and void. It's not really going to work, you know. Look, it wouldn't really make sense to pray for somebody who's sick, and then after that the person goes back to the habit that actually got him sick. You see, it will be null and void. And by staying away from all sort of our appearance of evil, then we are setting ourselves up to be blessed, as the book of Psalm chapter 1 verse 1 actually states. So remember, there are so many people who have actually missed on the blessings simply because of things that we're watching. simply because of evil conferences that we're going to, simply because of evil books they were reading, simply because they decided to get convicted by certain evil convictions, and so many blessings have actually left them. So do not let yourself robbed by constantly being in the presence of evil, in the presence where evil appears. So that was my message for today, and I hope that it has helped you. God bless you, and remember, avoid all kinds, or let me say it this way, avoid the appearance of evil. God bless you.